Hi, Mike Lucero here. Not too long ago, I put up a video about scales and modes, and I guess it could come off a little bit boring if you don't know exactly the purpose of scales and what they represent and what you can gain from. But let's take a scale pattern here. Pattern number 1, G major, the Ionian mode. And right here, 3rd fret. Okay, did that seem boring enough for you? Now we have the 2nd pattern, the Dorian mode. Now let me explain something to you. The very first pattern is a major scale pattern. What makes it major or minor is the 3rd note in the scale. And it's 1, 2, 3. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Now this one, if you were to play this, that's a B. If you were to play B on this string, on the E string, it would be right here. So it'd be 2 whole steps. That's a major 3rd. Now when you go to a minor scale pattern, it's a whole step and a half step, which they call a minor 3rd. So it's the A Dorian, which is a minor scale. Or, and the G's. And you might have seen people do stuff like all they're doing is getting major and minor 3rds and playing them diatonically through the scale patterns. And what I mean by diatonically, in order of sequence, in the key that they go in, and modes that they go in, and basically just playing them in order, not just going or yes. So what happens now when we're trying to build chords is we have our major bar chord, a G major bar chord. But what we have is 1, 3, 5. That's what builds a chord. What is 1, 3, 5? The first note of the scale pattern, that's 1, 2, 3. The 3rd note of the scale pattern is a 3. However, in the bar chord, unlike a piano, the notes are all laid out. You could play, notes, say this note and this note at the same time. We can't do that on the guitar. So here's the 3rd, and what we do is we play it an octave higher. So we have 1, 3, 5, and then here's an octave with a G, and an octave with a 3rd. There's our G major chord, 1, 3, 5. Now our minor chord, remember the difference is the 3rd. In this case, you could actually say it's the 10th. Because once we get to the 8th note, it's like 1 all over again. So we go to now if you look at the G major scale pattern, that chord, every note in that chord fits in this pattern. Now we go to the Dorian mode, which is a minor scale pattern, A Dorian. It's going. Now remember, we're playing 1, 3, 5 to build our chord. We have our 1, 2, 3, which is a C, and so we got 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, which is our octave. We have, but we want to get that C note in there. So I just went an octave here, which is just found the C an octave higher. So what we did was we got that third note, which could be a tenth, because it's a third octave higher, and we played it flat. And if you were to play those same notes in a Dorian scale, all those notes fit right in the chord. Then we have the Phrygian mode, which is, let's see. And what do we notice there? The third note was a whole step and a half. I mean, it was played a half step and a whole step, but same principle. It's a minor third. So the Phrygian mode is actually a minor scale pattern. But you can also create other things. You can do a B minor seventh. So what happens is, to play that chord, because we flattened the third, and we didn't, like, in a way, we didn't really choose to flatten the third's already flattened just by default to the scale pattern. So when we play the Phrygian mode, it's a minor scale. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's our seventh note. So we have our 1, 5, 7. And now you might ask, where's our third at? Well, let's find out. So our third would be a D. We have a D right here. So you could have major, minor, minor seventh, and we can even move it into the Lydian mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what happened? What do we notice there? The root and the third. So it's a major scale pattern. Let me see. Oh, I'm screwing it up. Okay, so now we have the B minor 7, and we have the we went from the Phrygian mode to the Lydian mode, and we could have a C major 7, because we already figured out that that's a major scale because of where the third lands. So we go 1, 3, 5, but it's a major scale, so the third is going to be major. So 1, 2, 3. That's an E, so we got to find the octave. Here it is. Remember, a chord is 1, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we want to make it a major seventh. So all we do is, in the major scale pattern, we're going to find the seventh note of the major scale pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's our 7. There's our 5. There's our root. And then we do our octave for our third, so 1. Which is really a really pretty sounding chord. I shouldn't have this much distortion on it. So we can go like a major bar chord, 2 minor bar chords. That's theory. That's what theory is, and that's why your scales are so important. They're not just finger exercises. Everything that you do musically comes from a scale. Everything. That's how you stay in key. That's how you know if you're out of key. That's how you build chords. That's how you build coordination. That's how you build speed. That's how you build alternate picking. Everything that you do playing the guitar comes from the scale patterns. Trust me, they come from the scale patterns. And as I talked about in the other video, it's kind of like a safety net. If you follow this, you can't go wrong. It's laid out for you. You just cannot go wrong. So if I'm playing, C Lydian, and I do a C major 7, there's no way it can be wrong. I can even do a major chord, because all those notes fall within this scale pattern. So you can't, there's really no way to do it wrong. Where things get a little funky, you might have heard there's 3 different 7 chords. You have your C7, you have your C major 7. Let me back that up. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a C. It could be A, B, C, D, or for G, but you'll have a major 7, a minor 7, and you have, bear with me. Okay, I was just fact checking right now, but you have your dominant 7, and again, this is where the reason there's 3 different 7 chords is because of the way the scale patterns work. We know we have a major Ionian, we have a minor Dorian, we have a minor Phrygian, we have a major Lydian, and then we go to our Mixolydian, which is also a major scale. Okay, but then from there we have our E Aeolian, or E natural minor. And the only thing what makes that as an E Aeolian is because we're starting with E. And that's a Mixolydian. No matter where you play that, that's going to be Mixolydian. But the first note is going to reference what it is. That's a D, so it's D Mixolydian. That's a B, so it's a B Phrygian. You can go A Phrygian. You can go F sharp Phrygian. Now what it is, if you're in a song and it's a minor key, you can actually put any minor scale pattern on top of it. A lot of standard rock playing, if it's played in E, will do the natural minor or E Aeolian. However, Glenn Tipton likes to use the E Dorian mode, and that's kind of cool. Here, just has a little bit of a different sound, but the majority of the notes are the same as the E natural minor, which is like this. In the E Dorian. So a couple of different notes are different, and that's what's going to give it a different tone. And he happens to like the way that sounds, and it works great for him. So again, that's the importance of the scale patterns. But let me get back to this where we're talking about the Mixolydian mode. It goes like now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th note lands right here. So, like we had before, we had the minor 7 chord. But this one, it's going to be major. So we have to have that major note in there. 1, 2, 3. We played an octave higher. So now we have, this is the 7th note. See? There's your dominant 7. Here's your major 7. Here's your minor 7. And again, the E natural minor, or the Aeolian mode. Now, again, getting back to this, when we say, the first note, second note, third note, if you're playing a harmony, that's what you're doing. If I have a riff that goes, and that's just playing an octave higher, so it's basically just, however it is, you're just following it. But let's just say now maybe I want to play a third to that, and I wouldn't play 3 whole steps. I'm not actually doing exactly, that's 1, 2, 3. If I'm going to play a third to that, I'm going 1, 2, 3, and what happens is, look at it, the root and the third. So it's going to change. So if you want to play a 5th, you want to play a 4th, you want to play a 3rd, it's real cool for harmonies, because no matter what your riff is, if it's, so that's what diatonically means. So if I do a riff that's like, and then you just got to figure out if I'm doing this, if I want to do a 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I want to play a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you build harmonies. So again, I wasn't lying to you. Everything you're going to do on your guitar all comes from the scales. Once you accept that and learn to love it, guitar playing is going to be so much more fun. All this theory that's just like a clusterfuck in your head, it's going to come alive. It's really going to come alive, and it's going to help you out. Guarantee it.